Level up with the new AAA Commanders MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA plus exclusive experiences, discounts, and tickets. Already a AAA member, upgrade for free at AAA.com/commanders. Hey, babies. Hey, babies. Hey, babies. Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday, playa. Callow's got his Caps hat on. He's ready for night 1 of 82, Capitals Bruins, and I get to watch them tonight because they're on TNT and YouTube TV still carries that. And last I heard, that hasn't changed with Monumental yet. So I am bracing for, this is one of the few that I'm going to see on my screen, which I will be honest with you, Callow, bothers me a lot. This is not, I love the Nats and the Orioles, but them not being on my screen doesn't make or break my life. This is heartbreaking, guys. So you have a couple more days to figure it out and get them available to me again.
Yeah, I mean, it should make you sad that a local team who has had a star for 20 years isn't available or readily available to watch without paying a monthly fee just to watch that one thing. So, yeah, I agree with you. I don't have to worry about that because I'm in a studio that has the games, so I won't have to worry about that. But I would be in the same boat as you, yeah. And we'll figure out some ulterior means to get to the games. Don't worry, we'll figure that out.
I don't care that I'm going to publicly say I will listen to this advice because I don't want to lose the Caps, and I also don't want to pay them more a month than I pay Hulu. So I'm in a really tricky spot here. Okay, guys, like Caps, Ted, Zach, I love you all. I love you guys. I want to watch you all the time, but you can't do this to me. So find a way to put the games on something that I get without me having to fork over more money. And Ted, I just bought tickets to a Wizards game today. So come on, man. Like, hook me up.
You bought tickets? What?
I did.
Who are you?
My son took a junior Wizards camp this summer, and part of the deal of doing the junior Wizards camp was they comp you a couple of tickets, but they're up in the nosebleeds. So you can either take those or you can apply a discount to tickets in a better section. So I applied the discount, and me and Archer are going to go see Wemby when he comes in December to play the Wizards. So I'm like, so Ted, I gave you money today. Hook me up, man. Give me my Caps back on TV, please. Please do this for me.
When's the last time you bought Wizards tickets before you bought Caps tickets? For
1986, probably.
Before I was born? Yeah, before I was born. That's what you're telling me. Yeah.
Listen, crazy. I got a couple lower level tickets for what was, because of the discount, a really great price. So I'm not complaining about it. And in that case, I will do it. We're going to have fun. And it happens to be the day after the Eagles Saturday game here. Nice. So it's a Sunday. So we're going to go. We're going to have a blast. That'll be fun. All right.
I have one thing. Can I suggest one thing to the Monumental people if they are listening? They don't want this to come from me or like have this be a solution, but I think you do. And this is me talking to other fans, mostly Caps fans, but I have talked to a few Wizards fans. You really need to offer a split pricing plan. Like just watch the Caps or just watch the Wizards for a lower price than what you're offering. I know they don't want to hear that because they're all under one umbrella and the Mystics are under there too. But I'm telling you, the fans I've talked to have basically said, I don't want to pay that price to watch that team singular. And the Venn diagram of those two fan bases watching every night is not high. I would just say the Monumental people, one price for one team. Yeah, I think you should throw it out there, especially for the Caps fans out there. So
in the meantime, I'm going to do a season preview with you later because, as you know, Caps are my number 2. But, I'm not shy about it. They're my number 2. And I'm excited about the season and the team that they bring back. And I do love, again, that nobody believes in them. I love that. Like, I think that's really great for them that, like, they're walking into a season again where everybody's like, that was a fluke last year. So good. Go ahead. Do that. I appreciate that. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But, again, you've got to put this back on in my screen. Like this can't go on like this. You're not going to win this battle, apparently, with YouTube TV. Figure it out. Like, you got to figure it out, because you're just going to lose people. Like, there are a lot of people like me that are just not going to fork it over. And I actually agree with you about splitting it off. I think it would be very instructive for them at Monumental to know who are the willing paying participants and who are not, actually. And I think it would actually help them from a data perspective of understanding where to grow their programming if they were to do something like that. Because it's not one size fits all for everybody. Even though I do care about all the teams, it isn't. Like, that's the reality of it. So we'll see what they do. All right, let's get into the Commanders here. I've called this Bears week because, today really will initially start, the starting quarterback speak. So Jaden Daniels is going to be asked about the Hail Mary. He's probably not going to say much about it. Caleb Williams is going to be asked about that game last year too. All the Bears people are going to be asked about it. Ben Johnson gave the right answer about it because he was asked about it. And he's like, buddy, I wasn't here. He's like, and he said, we're a new team. So he's got the easy out for it. But all the players who were here, and that's most of them, are going to have to deal with this and talk about it. I'm going to play Tyreek Stevenson for you in a minute because he actually talked at length. I finally heard him talk at length about what he did at the end of the game that cost them. He was jawing with the crowd, whoever he was jawing at, doesn't matter. He took his eye off the ball, literally, and it ended up in Noah Brown's hands. And then they lost 9 consecutive games after that, and their season went completely sideways. And some of them were as preposterous as how they lost this one. Their Thanksgiving Day game last year was as ridiculous. And then it all, it crumbled, and now they've started anew, and they're back here. And oddly, the schedule makers are funny. They put them on a night game, and they're off a bye again. So it's like it's funny that they kind of set this whole thing up to be exactly like almost a year to the date. Caleb comes back here, and of course he has to deal with this is incredible. Like, how much the scripts have flipped for us. Like, we're the ones not getting all the weird questions anymore. Like, we're not the ones. But he is going to be asked, I think, about what he thinks of Jaden Daniels. Like, there's no way around, because that's part of this too. And there are so many pieces already out there. If you could redo that draft, how would it go this time around? I read a Sporting News one this morning that basically said, if we could do it over, Jaden Daniels would have gone number 1 to the Bears. Drake May would be in Washington at number 2. Caleb would probably be number 3 at that point if we could all do it over. And then they went through all these other things, and there's probably going to be a couple other think pieces that are like, this is a big moment for him because he kind of needs to prove it on the road against this team because of that quarterback. So this thing has literally every element of everything I like to get ready for a game. It's got so much subtext. It's incredible, really.
It's also a good juxtaposition of what the first 5 games of the season have really looked like too, storyline wise, because there hasn't been this much kind of drama heading into a game yet. I felt, you think week 1 Giants, it's the Giants, not good really heading into the season. We talked about them in the offseason, but it wasn't really anything with connecting to this team, I guess is really what I would say on that, right? Like, it's a rival, but they're the least threatening out of the division. You go to Green Bay, it was a Thursday nighter. The Michael Parsons thing was a big deal, but that's not really a rivalry. It was flashy, but not really like any kind of emotional connection. Vegas is Vegas, whatever. The Falcons, there was a little bit, but it was a road game. Jaden was hurt. The wind was out of the sails a little bit, whatever on that one. And then you go last week, Chargers, good team, but not really like much emotion thrown in there.
That's right.
Then this game gets thrown on the schedule, and it's everything. Like, you cannot look at any direction without seeing some kind of connection to this team, to this franchise. As I mentioned to you, it seems like we play them every year. I think this is the 3rd or 4th year in a row we're playing them now.
Fourth
year in a row that we're playing them. So this goes back, and those games have been dramatic. As I said, you had the Dan Snyder Thursday night game. You had the Monday night, or the Thursday night blowout a couple years ago. And then you had last year with the Hail Mary game. Like, it hasn't been normal with them. And then, as you mentioned yesterday too, you have Ben Johnson, who told ownership on the plane not to come interview me. Yeah. You have the quarterback situation. There's just so many layers to this that, yes, it absolutely, I think right now it's easily the most dramatic game that's happened so far in the season.
I think honestly too, and I said this yesterday, it's so crazy to say this because Dallas is next week. And Dallas is always the week, like, I mean, just from just a historical perspective, biggest rival, there's so many moments, but the two of them haven't lined up together at the same time very often for a long time, where when Dallas was good, the Commanders kind of weren't, with the exception of a couple of one-offs like the RG3 year where they kind of hit each other around the same time. It just hasn't lined up where they're both really good at the same time. Right now, like the Eagles are clearly the team to chase. And those games, I think, we'll see. It's such a long, I hate that the first meeting is when it is this year because you just don't know where either team's going to be by that point. And I don't like wasting rivalry games, if it ends up happening that way. But this team is more emerging as a lined up rival for them. And if Caleb does ultimately reach his promise and Ben Johnson does turn them into kind of a juggernaut offense and all that stuff, I have a feeling that we're going to be doing this with them a lot. Like every single year that they're going to intersect with each other for a long time. And I do love that it's age-old franchises that have histories that go way, way, way back, major market teams. I'm hoping we have playoff games against them at some point because it feels like it could be down the road if Caleb really emerges like Allen versus Mahomes or Burrow versus Mahomes or Burrow versus Allen or Lamar versus Allen. Like Caleb versus Jaden feels like something that it's just starting. And the first episode of it was incredible. And here comes episode 2. So I'm pumped. It's got everything. It has the makings of, and you don't know because neither team has had any sustaining power of being good for long stretches of time, but they both feel like they're in position to do that. And if that is the case, they're going to be our rival. And it already feels like it has every subtext of it. And I love it.
No, and it's also, you throw in that they're historic franchises. So both fan bases have complete unhinged parts of the fan bases too. Like I already said to you, I'm already seeing it on social media, and the calling out of how bad each fan base is so funny because there are just extreme versions of both. And
yes, both of them because of what they've gone through. There are MAGA and Antifa wings of both fan bases.
Correct. Yes,
they are.
Yes, exactly. But just because the one very extreme part is very bad doesn't mean we're all terrorists, right?
That's
so
right.
that's what I'm getting at here is the cherry picking of how bad the fan base is because of the worst slice of a fan base is really funny because I'm seeing it from both sides. And
yes.
Talking about football and politics at this point, but what I'm getting at here is that's just amplifying things up here. And to add to all of it, they never play each other at 1:00 anymore on a Sunday. It's always these Thursday nighters, Monday nighters, 4:25 last year where it was the primetime window. And remember, the funny part about that Hail Mary game was that game went long. It was just a slow slog of a game. The Hail Mary didn't happen until 7:50, 8:00. It was really late at the actual time of day. So everybody saw it that was watching the game. So that's the other part of this too. You add in another layer. It's always all eyes on both of these teams. So it feels like there's a little bit more at stake than there normally is.
They have a doubleheader Monday night. I was like, of all ones to just put all eyes on everything, I'm actually surprised that they didn't give this one, no matter what the solo window, just because of how much storytelling and context could be there. It was really funny. I did the live stream with Kime last night, and I'm like, the Commanders and the Bears more than the Commanders, but the Commanders are going to obviously be asked about the Hail Mary a lot. But they can just kind of move on. They've been trying to just move on, and they won it. So it's easier to be hey, last year was last year, just move on. They're not the ones that have to reconsider what happened and what happened to their season. And it was kind of, it was part of the launching pad for them. And I said to Kime last night, I go, I just kind of offhanded said, there's kind of no way around that they're going to, have to talk about this. And he goes, I work at ESPN. Yeah. They are. He goes, the stories, because they're doing Monday Night Football, because they're getting ready for this, the content that needs to be generated that's going to be based around what happened last year, whether Chicago or Washington likes it or not, is going to be circling around this. There's going to be a ton of pieces about it, as they head into it. So there's no escaping what is going to be the build-up storyline for this, whether either team likes it or not.
No, exactly. And sometimes, too, it transcends the actual teams involved. It was the best play in the NFL last year. It was on every single highlight reel. It was never really stopped playing. It was when a play is big, it's when the NFL starts tweeting and putting it out on Instagram in the offseason multiple times and throws it out there like that. It transcends both teams. So, yeah, of course, ESPN is going to deep dive into it as well. And as I said, It's two big markets. It's two really loyal fan bases. You kind of have to. I don't blame ESPN for having to go in and having to do that.
It's really funny. I've like a lot of people have been asking me, well, last week or so, what do you remember about it? And I've talked about all that stuff in the game. But I'll tell you the funny part is it involves you. Like the thing that I remember most about that day, because you ran in the Marine Corps Marathon that day, and because they happened to be playing at 425, it gave me the opportunity to go see you for a minute as you came off the Key Bridge and took the turn up M Street in Georgetown. So I staked myself there. And I remember walking around that morning in Georgetown, and it's eerily quiet there, especially in those neighborhoods back, near the university, in between Wisconsin Avenue and the university. I didn't really know that about Georgetown, but I expected it just to be, crowded and crazy. And it was strange how just a few blocks away from where everybody was stationed to see all the runners, that it was almost like eerily quiet. And it had this kind of cool, crisp day, and I felt like I was walking through an NFL Films video at the time. Like I could just hear John Facenda in my voice going like, the autumn wind is a pirate, and like and there was something in the air. And I've told you this before, and it was weird. I had this really odd feeling that something incredible was going to happen. Like it was just in the air. They had moved this game to 425. They put Nance and Romo on it. We hadn't been kind of profiled like this yet. It had the backdrop of number 1 pick versus number 2 pick, and number 1 pick happens to be from this town. And it felt like both teams had winning records at the time. The Bears went sideways after this, not before it, after this. It was all just kind of there, and you could just feel the energy of something's going to happen today. And I never would have envisioned like what did happen, but I just kind of had this odd, weird feeling that we were walking into something that we were never going to forget. And I told you this story before. It was so strange. Like I had this feeling of it, that something was going to happen. It was just the atmosphere and all the energy around it. And then we did. And so I'll be interested to see what the day is like on Monday, because this one, there's so much pressure on Chicago. There's pressure on Washington too, because they don't want to be 3-3 and then have to go to Dallas, go to Kansas City. The schedule reads like this is a big game for both teams. But for Chicago, mentally, this is an enormous moment for them to walk in. And I don't know, avenge is the right word, but just prove something, because they're going to be hearing it the whole week about what happened last year.
It reminds me a little bit too of, and funny that the cap season starts, today, that I'm going to talk about this. It reminds me a little bit of Crosby Ovechkin. Rookie year for both of them was 05. And it was 04, 05, or 05 or 6. I think it was 04, 05. The chatter was, these are two generational players. They have been, right, for 20 years now. Like, one of the biggest storylines now that McDavid is signed is, will Crosby get traded? I can't believe we're talking about that in the year 2025. But one of the things that happened that year was Ovechkin won Rookie of the Year. He won, the Calder Trophy to win Rookie of the Year. And I remember going, that kind of doesn't mean much, because these guys are both going to play for 20 years. And look at how the careers have played out. Crosby, for all intents and purposes, is the more decorated player in terms of championships, right? But Ovechkin turned into the all-time goal scorer, right? And he still has a Stanley Cup, brought the first Stanley Cup here to DC. Both very, very good careers, but it never derailed one or the other. I'm not saying this all rides in year 2 on Caleb, but I feel like Caleb has to have a moment here.
I agree.
To at least say, I can go, tit for tat with Jaden to go, you know what? We're both going to be really good. He doesn't have a one-up on me. I'm not going to let this falter. And I think, once again, you look at all the layers of this. This is where he grew up. So it's his hometown team that he has to now go, go up against every time. This is where I kind of compare it. Last year was just chapter 1, but I will have to say Caleb has to at least show something on Monday. I think the pressure is on him a little bit.
Yeah, we haven't had a quarterback like this,
right,
in forever. So, like Tom Brady would have been Tom Brady, I think, no matter what. But Tom was really made because of Peyton, because they were going at the same time. Allen and Mahomes, Burrow and Mahomes, Allen and Burrow, Lamar and all of these. You have these chapters that occur over and over and over because you expect great things. And I think we've already settled into I would be surprised if Jaden Daniels is a flash in the pan. He's not. Like we know what we have here, that we have someone with health that is going to be able to kind of give us and deliver us these high level, hopefully high achieving, high, championship level qualities on an annual basis, with health. We don't know that from Caleb yet. But if he does live up to his promise and he does become this is where the two of them are going to be intertwined forever. And that's what's going to make this one of the best rivalries in the NFL. But to your point, he has to do it. Jaden's already had a number of these in a very short period of time, has already won 2 road playoff games, has already shown that it's going to be this way. Caleb hasn't shown the ability to lead a team back from a bad loss yet. So while he has all this promise, and I actually believe he's going to be good, and I think he does have the right, at least offensive mind to help him, whether they're a good fit schematically is a real open question to me. But I do know that I believe this guy knows what he's doing in building offenses and building is he the right exact quarterback for that? I don't know. On some level, I hope he is, because I really feel like this is good for everybody. Ovechkin and Crosby made the Caps Penguins what it was for so long. Tom and Peyton made the Indy-New England rivalry what it was for so long. Allen and Mahomes are in the middle of it with one another right now. We can have that with him. And I'm hoping that we get that and I hope we win more often than he wins, but I hope we get that. I want this to be toe-to-toe. These are huge games every year.
Well, and this is kind of the fun part about when the team gets good, right? Like, this is where I think I look at it as a Commanders fan, and you go, great, we have one of these one-of-one type guys. Great. Now I get to look forward to when they play some of these opponents. Like you just mentioned, we get to play Mahomes in 2 weeks on Monday Night Football. That's going to be fun because I know going into it, our quarterback can go toe-to-toe with that quarterback. Throw everything else out because we just don't know, but those are fun matchups. If we can start rubber stamping Caleb versus Jaden, I think we're all gonna have fun with this one. And the stakes the stakes rise on this too. Like I just mentioned to you before too, the first 5 weeks of the season, the storylines have been okay. It hasn't been crazy though. I think it's all been internal though, which is where I think really the first month of the season goes. This is the first one that you point out and go, all right, we got our problems, you got yours, but let's have at it on Monday Night Football. Let's see what happens. And that's where I think this lands as well, is you get to build in some of that stuff where you're not just talking about all the things happening internally with your team. You get to go and talk about what's happening with them, and you get to reference the past matchups. This is already happening now. They're already going to talk about all of the Hail Mary, leading up into this too. There could be another chapter in this. So if they play again next year, if they finish in the same part of the division, you get to add another chapter to it. That's where, it excites me.
That's right. All right. As for the other part of this, Tyreek Stevenson, do you want to hear it? It's 3 minutes long. Okay. So I'll let you make the call, producer. Do you want to hear it or do you want me to just quote it? I think it's worth hearing it. Tyreek Stevenson did an interview with his teammate, Kevin Byard, where he finally opened up about what happened last year. As a quick reminder, just because he doesn't reference exactly what it is, Tyreek Stevenson, before the Hail Mary, and I didn't actually see this live. Everybody showed this to me afterwards, but was goading the crowd in some way, not really paying attention before the ball was snapped, and he was chatting with people behind him. The ball was snapped. He runs over, and karmically, he's one of the players that touches the ball, that spins it up in the air. Noah Brown catches it. And as the kids would say, it's a bad look. Okay. It looks really, really, really bad. And so he finally has opened up about it and kind of owns it. And I think it's worth hearing this because you're going to have some empathy for him. I think after you hear this, when he finally talks about having thought this through for a year and almost understanding what this means to his career, because he has a full understanding that he's never going to live this down. So I'm going to just play it for you. Here is Tyreek Stevenson with Kevin Byard on Kevin's podcast.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this is what we do for a living. And the last thing you want is some critics. You feel me? The last thing you want and what you do for your life and all that, this is us. And it still hurt, just to see that people try to define that who I am off one play, one game out of the other 30 starts I done had. But at the end of the day, I got to take it. Honestly, I wear it because that's not who I am, but that's who I show who I am.
Right.
And actions speak louder than words. And like you were saying, only thing I could do from that point on is pretty much prove it to you guys. Because at the end of the day, I come in this building and I look in y'all face and y'all look in my face. And y'all have, I got like I got trust in y'all. I got respect for y'all. I know y'all gonna do y'all job. Y'all got it for me. And honestly, I can't be, naive and not be real with myself and like, nah, that shit, it kind of shook them boys up. Like, now it's like we gotta watch Reek, or I gotta make sure Reek this and that. And honestly, so it's like I just been wearing it. And honestly, I don't even when I hear people talk about it, I kind of get away from it. I see the video, I watch it. Because at the end of the day, I want that to be a memory in my game be bigger than what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I make the game. I make the plays. I do this. The game don't do that. I do it. So the fact that I let the game get in my head, I'm talking to the stands, I'm this, I'm that. I'm, every now and then you pop it and you want to embrace the game and all that. But I think that right there was a selfish moment, and I think just karma. I think karma was the perfect example, perfect explanation I got for it, because I wasn't living right. I wasn't living right that day, that week, that mindset, whatever it was that week, it came back and bit me. And honestly, how I look at it now, I just want to stack good days after good days after good days. And that's what I really been focused on. Wearing it like a jacket. It is what it is. It ain't gonna never go away. It's teach tape. And all I can do is, when y'all show this to the next generation of what not to do, you go look at Tyreek Stevenson stats and be like, well, shit, after that, all pro. You feel me? So
exactly.
So like, I would say that's my second awakening of welcome to the NFL. The first one was bad, but the second one was the second. I think the second one was just as much. I think it was good. I think I'm starting to believe that I'm happy and having that moment, because I think I would have never changed.
Yeah,
I would have never changed, and we would have still been having the same conversations we had when you first got here, and you seeing the potential, and you seeing that I'm not trying to get to the ceiling. You seeing I'm cool with just scrubbing on the floor. So honestly, I wear it. It is.
What do you think? It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is the best players always use these as teaching moments. They don't get mad about it. They take it for what it is, where they, as you just said, you can show it to a future generation of saying what not to do. I think he's taking it in stride. I really don't think there's much of a choice there other than to take it in stride. I think perspective matters there for him, at least about a year later now, that he can say, teachable moment, I made a mistake, I effed up, and hey, he's never going to do it again. If there's one player that's not going to do it, it's him. I think it's good perspective.
If you're a Bear fan, you'd hope. This is easily one of those things too, and I think you can hear it in his voice that he knows he could have been cut after that.
Yeah.
Like he easily could have been cut. And then if you go to another team, you're the guy everyone's looking sideways at, that everybody knows why you're there. So if you do anything wrong, like there's going to be no tolerance for it, whatsoever. No one's going to tolerate it from you. And, they stuck with him through it. And I think he understands the appreciation of that. Like, I really screwed up, but you all have my back. And I understand that I screwed up, and I am going to wear it and use it as just, it was a major mistake that I made, and you're not going to get it from me again. I actually had a lot of empathy for him listening to it. And I also think most of the time I'm like, take your medicine, talk to the press about these things. Just do it, because it'll fester. It'll never really go away unless you do it. But in this particular case, I actually think this was the right forum to address this with a teammate who can have a real conversation about it without it being twisted, or have 15 people ask very different variations of the same question to try to get to different answers, and that it's not a cogent conversation. I think by him doing this, he can point to it and say, I've addressed this. This is what I wanted to say about it. Watch this. Okay. These are my quotes on it. And I actually thought he came off really, really good in that. And I thought it was the best way, whether he intended it or not, to actually handle it, because obviously people are going to be waiting in his locker over the next couple of days to talk to him about last year. And he can talk about how I'm in a new year now. And if you really want to hear what I had to say about it, go listen to Kevin's podcast. It's there for you to listen to.
Yeah, no, I think it right there, like that's the other thing. It readdresses it and it goes, hey, here's a forum that it's on. I don't really want to talk about it because I think an athlete does have the right to say that was last year. I don't want to talk about it. But he can now point to this and go, I already revisited that once this year. Go ahead and look at that one.
You can say that, but only to a point. Like when it is something as monumental as that, it's impossible to ignore and not bring up ever again. Like it's just, you have to address it. And I actually felt for him hearing that. And I felt like he did hear it. Like he wasn't like, some people are just like, they want to defend themselves no matter what. I actually heard empathy. And he was like, I screwed up. I realize I screwed up. I am thankful that you all stuck with me and believe I'm not going to screw it up again. And so I felt for him. So, but I'm sure he's going to hear it from the fans this weekend. So the opportunity for him to be distracted will certainly be present at Northwest Stadium on Monday night.
If I was him, I would not interact with the crowd 1 second. That's even on the bench anywhere. I would not acknowledge that I'm even playing in front of fans if I was him on Monday.
Earmuffs. Yeah, earmuffs, right. Tyreek.
Yep.
Earmuffs.
Exactly.
You're going to need them. You're going to need them this week. All right, let me take a quick break. Brad wants to show ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. All right, welcome back. Let's get into this week's AAA review. Commanders fans, this is for you. Level up with the new AAA Commanders MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA, like 24/7 roadside assistance, plus 15% off Commanders gear at the online pro shop, chances to win game tickets, access to exclusive MVP events, and unforgettable experiences. Already a AAA member? Add the Commanders MVP upgrade free. Head to AAA.com/Commanders and join the squad. Put your fandom in drive. I watched the tape of the Chargers game again. It's better than I really remember it. Obviously, the first quarter was difficult. Certainly, the Chargers had a couple of really nice scripted plays that really worked out. I still feel like it's interesting. I still feel like the Quan Martin thing was the turning point. Dan Quinn had mentioned that. I kind of felt that way too. There's a second part to that I kind of forgot about. I didn't remember, in first rethinking about it. After the Quan Martin fumble, Washington was in a 3rd and 16 on the first series of downs, and that was actually the first real Jaden moment. He hits Jalen Lane on a strike, on Jalen Lane coming back to the ball, right? Making this play. So you see his development in real time. You feel the moxie of Jaden for the first time in this game, and it started what ended up being a snowball effect. So I now think it's 2 plays that really turned the season. Quan Martin makes the play they needed to stop this momentum, turn it around, make a play, and Jaden kept that drive alive, because now there's part of me that goes, if they don't convert and they go 3 and out there, that actually, like, the momentum that they stunted the Chargers may not have continued. It was that conversion, too, that ended up being a really, really, really big deal. And it was his best pass, maybe of the season to that point, too, to get things going.
I think really this is was the overarching theme mainly on Sunday, was that this defense also felt way more comfortable with Jaden at the helm, too. I don't know if you've seen some of the chatter as well, of like, Jaden was the one to get a lot of the guys fired up, and he hasn't really done that much over, the first year and a quarter, I guess we'll call it, year and a third. I don't know where we're at the point in this season, but he was the one that actually seemed to be getting in guys' faces a little bit, at the beginning of that game, and getting guys into it. And so I think that also helped the defense as well, kind of to go, you know what, our leader's kind of back here. We can't let him down. And I think there was, as you said, a snowball effect, because they started playing off of each other. What was the best part about last year in the first half of the year? We said it a million times, complementary football, where all of a sudden the offense was having a really good run game, could score some points, and the defense could pin their ears back and start going after guys. That's exactly what happened, really, and it started with those 2 plays.
I saw this start in camp. I saw one, he barked at somebody after there was either a delay of game or something like that. Yeah. This is his team now. And I think one of the big changes from last year to this year was you can feel him embracing, it's my team. And you could feel that from him. And I think we saw some of that here. I wrote not yak, hack. And what I meant by that in this one It wasn't yards after catch. It was hits after catch. Debo running people over. The McNichols conversion on a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, whatever it was. There was a screen pass where he ran over 2 people to get a first down. Bill over and over, running over people. This was really telling. They were punishing. And it wasn't just, and I'll get to the defense in a minute, but they were overly aggressive. And it was, I think this is, and Quinn kind of mentioned this. He had said before the game, I want them to see the speed and the violence. When I rewatched this, they were so by far dominating in terms of the physical aspect of it. And some of it was in that. The yards after the catch were people getting punished for trying to tackle these guys. It was a sight to see for sure.
I think a microcosm of what happened was you've seen a million pictures of it now of Bill swinging that run over to the right side. And there's Jaden sprinting out, trying to sprint out in front of him a little bit. I thought that was like pretty much what you said there. Everybody was buying into this so much so that the quarterback with a knee brace on, where we're all going, dude, don't even do that, is at least trying to make a screen for his running back on the other side. That is a buy-in that I don't think we've been missing it, but I think that they've been lacking a little bit to start off the season. That was a buy-in that you saw from every single player, including JD5.
My 2 favorite Bill runs of what was his breakout game was, I think, the one you're mentioning, which was the one where he got out of a Derwin James tackle. And so Derwin James is almost like, it's close to horse collaring him, but just kind of can't get him down. He breaks out of this. 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000, the running back who breaks away from something like that just gets what he can get and goes down from there. It's like, great second effort. You got out of a tackle, goes down. That's actually not what he did. He not only broke out of an all-pro player who's grabbing him around the neck at the line of scrimmage, he has the wherewithal to set up a block 5 yards down the field, gets to the outside of it, and then ends up with extra yardage. That was not a rookie doing something like that. That was something else entirely. The other one that I loved was one of the touchdown runs, and it's partially because these 2 particular offensive linemen beyond stood out in this game. Biotish was unbelievable in this game. And Chris Paul, who they've talked about over and over as being one of the strongest players on the team, but he's become, as they put it, more versatile, which is part of the reason why he's been put in and starting now. They're pulling him all the time. On the touchdown run that he had, both of them pull. Paul gets a decent block on a defender. Biotish picks off the same defender before getting to the second level and taking out a second Chargers player, which opens the gate up for Bill to just charge through. And we've learned now he's got a gear like some running backs that we haven't seen. When he hits 0 to 60, he's it's not Jahmyr Gibbs, but it's not far away from it. And more, I have a feeling if he even gets even more comfortable, that gear is going to become more and more obvious to everybody trying to stop him. But I really wanted to point out the offensive line this week. Biotish, numerous occasions, was leading the way, pulling from his center spot. There was a play where he ended up having to block a left defensive end because they pulled away and made a perfect block to keep a pocket clean for Jaden. He had an outrageously great game. And Chris Paul, if you were wondering, why is he starting right now? Go watch the tape of this one and you will see why he is starting right now.
I think the most maybe underrated storyline of the season has been the offensive line shuffling that's happened over the last couple of weeks. Because I think one of the things people don't really talk about is sometimes your best offensive line is the best chemistry between the 5 that are out there. And I think
they gelled this past week.
Yes.
This group. This was week 3 together. They gelled this past week.
And I would say Chris Paul is a key part of that. Like, we've seen him play a little bit in spot duty. We've never seen him play like this. And I think some of that matters, though, when it comes to the comfort of who's around you a little bit. And I think, like you just said, they gelled the most this past week. And you know what? This is the combo that you roll with. I know Sam Cosme's trying to work his way back too, but it's also like, oh, you can take your time now a little bit. It's not like you are urgently needed at this point. I would still say use Cosme. He's a Pro Bowl guard. I'm not trying to downplay that. But at this point in time, I'm very comfortable with this offensive line. This is the best I think we've seen them over the past 2 seasons right now.
I'm waiting to hear what Dan Quinn says about Cosme today. I don't believe he'll be playing this week personally. So I'm glad he's back at practice. I don't think he will be, but we'll see what Dan Quinn says about it. He will have to come off of IR officially by next week because the window will have been opened up for 21 days. And I don't know, and then I guess we'll see. But that's just my guess. We'll see what happens. One other thing off film, 99 and 94 together as a combination. This is the third time this year that they have literally blown things up. This was one of the most surprising stats I saw about the Commanders' defense, considering their pass defense giving up a ton of yardage. They've given up a lot of big plays this year. Believe it or not, they're number 2 in the NFL in negative plays having occurred. And a lot of that actually has to happen, I believe, because of Kinlaw, who cartoonishly blew up their line over and over and over. And Payne, one of my favorite plays of this one, not only was the Biotish play, but Payne on a screen pass broke through 2 offensive linemen in the middle of the line, recognized it was a screen, followed the running back all the way out to the flat, and tackled him for like a 6-yard loss. Listen, if this is what the linemen are going to be doing, and then you add in the magic tricks of 5 and now looks like 22 a little bit, like where you start adding, we don't even have Terry out there yet. You start adding in the magic tricks of all of this stuff. This is where this, I'm hoping, is the launching pad, because in rewatching this, I went, okay, this team, if they're going to play like this consistently, they're going to be good again, like real good.
Part of me is also wondering, like, what are Adam Peters and the front office saying behind the scenes about Daron Payne at this point? Are they like, hey, can we give you a lot of money for 1 year? Because if we're gonna get this type of production out of you on contract years, like, can we figure something out there? Because
1 year at a time.
Yeah, like contract. Like I'm here to say, contract year Daron Payne is one of my favorite players I've ever watched. Like, it wasn't only this year; it was 3 years ago when he was doing it. I always point to that Denver game 3 years ago where he single-handedly blew up a drive. Like, I don't know. We gotta figure out how to do this with Daron, because career or contract year Daron is one of my favorite players.
Yeah. I like contract year Daron. I'm starting to like contract year Debo too. I'm really starting to like that one too. He's fun when the money's on the line too. I like that too. All right. All in all, very good review. All right. I want to preview the cap season. We'll do that next. Bram wants to show ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. Commanders fans, this is for you. Level up with the new AAA Commanders MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA, like 24/7 roadside assistance, plus 15% off Commanders gear at the online pro shop, chances to win game tickets, access to exclusive MVP events, and unforgettable experiences. Already a AAA member? Add the Commanders MVP upgrade free. Head to AAA.com/Commanders to join the squad and put your fandom in drive. Hey, welcome back. First thing first, I just want to get this out of the way. LeBron's decision 2 was a booze stunt, which in the era of cornball marketing is pretty up there. It felt very Russ, actually. Like, it was one of the, like, he's done some corny things before. This one was really, really, really up there. I have a feeling, I don't know whether, did he think through that, by doing this, it is going to generate a lot of buzz about what this is about, actually. And did he think through, though, that when he did this, it was going to fall flat like this to the point where people like, oh, it's a commercial. I felt like I was watching A Christmas Story when Ralphie finally gets the decoder ring and finally finds out that all of those months trying to figure out the mystery ended up being a commercial for Ovaltine. Like, that's exactly what this was. LeBron, come on, man. Like, come on, man. A commercial? Like, I'm not surprised, and I am, all at the same time.
Be sure to drink your Hennessy. Is that what it should have said?
Be sure to drink your Hennessy. I'm going to wash his mouth out with soap.
I'm not surprised here, mainly because you can kind of sniff these out sometimes, too. Like, Shams was not hyping this up as a legitimate thing. ESPN wasn't really buying into it. So as soon as that happens, I'm like, all right, I'm good. I don't need to see what this is. And as soon as I saw it, go across Twitter and everything that it was a commercial, who's surprised anymore? Like, this is just how the world works. So I don't know. I think I downplayed it enough the day before that I wasn't surprised at it. But, I don't know what they're paying the guy, but he probably made more money than you and me ever will off of that one little video. So good for him, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Time for in 25-26, unleash the fury, baby. Here we go. Caps and Bruins tonight in game 1 for Washington season. The NHL opened last night with a few games. Caps get going tonight at home against Boston. Forget the game preview. What's the point of doing that? Let's do season preview for a couple minutes here. I talked about this earlier in the show. I'm a touch surprised, considering the experience and scoring prowess of this team and the year that Logan Thompson had, that people are still kind of treating the Caps like that was some kind of fluke last year. Are you surprised by that?
I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I'm surprised about how dismissive it has been, I guess I would say, because you do have to look at some of these guys that had career years. This is my mantra for the entire Cap season. Can they do this again? Does Jacob Chikrin have the year that he had again last year? Does Tom Wilson... I'll get to Bros in a sec. Does Tom Wilson score 33, 34 goals again? Does he get that to that plateau? I think that's a good question. Does Protas, is he going to be a consistent 30-goal scorer? I would think so, but you can't assume anything. Does Connor McMichael step his game up again? They're asking him to do wing and center, however it goes up and down the lineup, which means they trust him a little bit more. I think it's always worth asking, is this the year Alex Ovechkin falls a little bit? Is he going to score between 40 and 50 goals again because he was on a 50-goal pace if he doesn't get hurt last year? So this is where I've landed with this season. Can they do this again? Because I think the Caps had a very quiet offseason where I think they said to themselves, we kind of had 2 off seasons last year with all the moves that we made, the extensions that we handed out. Let's run it back, essentially. You mentioned Logan Thompson, too. His last third of the season was okay. He didn't fall apart, but he wasn't making as much of those huge saves that we were used to seeing him make a little bit. Can he kind of bounce back and be really a legitimate number one where he can swipe some games? I would hope so. But I think those are my storylines. Can they repeat what they did last year? Because they had so many career years out of these guys. I'm with you. I'm shocked people are just dismissing all of those players kind of all regressing. I think we all know that doesn't happen. The other guy I'll point to as well, Dylan Strome is in the prime of his career. He was a point per player last year. Yeah. Can he continue that as well? He's someone that I'm looking at here. And then I think one of the bigger arching stories of the entire season of how this Caps team has really, really revamped their farm system. They almost have too many prospects to put in the lineup again, which is a great problem to have. But the biggest one's going to be Ryan Leonard. He had a great training camp and really good game showings in the preseason. I know we didn't talk about preseason, but they were asking him to do a little bit more. He not only did more, but he also had a little bit of a scoring touch. I'm really excited to see what he does under his first full NHL season as well.
I mean, I trust Chikrin's going to be solid every year. Sure. I really trust Strome. I've seen too much of him over the last couple of years in this uniform. I totally trust that. I agree about Protas. Can he do that again? On Wilson, the goal scoring felt a little above. However, I think people are underrating. He got hurt in the playoffs the year before, the year prior.
2 years before.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So he was now finally probably back to feeling like himself last year. So is he going to score like that again? I don't know. But are we going to get that level of Tom Wilson again? Yes, I believe so. So I think on a number of these accounts, I buy into. I think McMichael waited his turn for so long that you can feel the I'm here now, I have arrived energy from him. So I agree. I think that they're underrated a little bit here. The one thing I don't love about this season is the similar thing from last season. Last year, we had a goal chase. This year, we have a goodbye party. Because I think everyone's going to treat it that way. And it's going to be something that I know this team wants to ignore, but they're not going to be able to. It's just going to be floating out there everywhere he goes. He's going to get a set of steak knives from Calgary, and he's going to get a trip to Disneyland in Miami and all. That's what's going to happen. But it's unavoidable. And so maybe this will become a bigger deal in the spring when we start counting down. Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? And hopefully it won't be the distraction, that I feel it could be this year. I agree also with Logan Thompson. He's going to have to be for them. They're not Toronto anymore. They're not going to score a bazillion goals. I think they could be a very good scoring team, but not like that, like they used to be. Logan Thompson's going to have to be beyond above average consistently throughout the year. They're going to need to lean on him a little bit more than maybe, some of the teams in the past would have to be. But I buy that they are still not only a playoff team, but potentially like a top 5, top 4, top 3 playoff team. That's what I think they could be. So I think it's been too dismissive about them, and I'm very excited for the season.
No, and I think what happens here too is they were the 1 seed last year. Even if they fall off a little bit, like you said, that they should be the 5th,
hard
6th.
to picture again. But
Right.
Who knows? Yeah,
right. And so that's what I would say as well. Is like even if they drop off a little bit, they're still a playoff team when they drop off. So I'll be very interested to see just how it all kind of shakes out. One thing that will benefit them that I'll point out now is that they don't only get a 4 Nations break. They get an Olympic break this year. They get 3 weeks off in January. It's either January or February. I want to say it's February. They get 3 weeks off. So like anything that kind of gets screwed up in the first half of the year, injury wise, maybe guys get banged up, maybe they just look tired. There's going to be a rest period for this team as well. So that's the other thing here. The season gets a good pausing point too, where they can really go on a run in the second half as well.
And I want to say this too, because this probably is Ovechkin's last year. It's probably John Carlson's too. So I think like we should be appreciative of that. Like he's another one whose number could be retired into the rafters. So I want to be appreciative of because everything's going to be focused on 8. I think we should appreciate him as well. All right, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. Brad Watch the show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital.